What is up, y'all, and welcome to another Aloha Friday drip. Tyler, Deveraux, Jackson Campbell. Y'all, we're about to crush y'all today in the best way, man. Pull over. Listen, if you're watching, if you're listening, maybe you want to watch this one on YouTube, dude, because it's going to be gangster. It's going to be good.
It's going to be good for sure.
But listen and then review on YouTube, and then just go to YouTube, too.
Yeah.
Like, rate, subscribe, share, follow.
All the things.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All the verbs.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today. For our new listeners that are here with us, thank you for joining. We're super stoked and pumped to have you here. Quick rundown of the podcast before we get started. Monday through Thursday, we've got Daily Drips with Dallas Pruitt, where he jumps on and he gives us mindset principles, 3 to 5 minute episodes, again, Monday through Thursday to start your day. Super powerful, super beneficial. I love them. I know you love them. Very good. Jump in, listen to those. And then Friday, what you're listening to right now is an Aloha Friday episode where I get to sit down with Tyler Deveraux, interview him on some of these principles that have impacted his life. We talk about multifamily real estate. Also on these Aloha Friday episodes, you'll find interviews that Tyler does with high-level guests as well as students that have been through the Multifamily Mindset's mentorship program. Very impactful and great episodes as well. And then on Saturday, I get the opportunity to jump on with Dallas Pruitt and interview him about a mindset principle or the book of the month that we're reading that month. This month is Ikigai. So we've been discussing that book on our Saturday extended cuts.
In other words, whatever you want, we got it for you. You're welcome.
We've got it all. We've got a whole array of things here, but all good things. Really, I love the podcast because it all comes back to mindset every time. It always comes back to mindset. So it's growth oriented every single episode. But today we're gonna continue on with these Aloha Friday episodes with these principles on how to remind me.
What was the framework? So we talked about this framework for taking ownership of your life, right?
That's what it was.
And first one, so we just kind of did an overview, and then as we were doing the overview, if you've been with us, it was like, well, let's break down and get granular with some of these steps. So that's what we're doing now. First one was, I think the first one was purpose, right? Identifying your purpose. And now this is number 2.
Your values, yeah.
Values.
Identifying your values.
Yeah. And then step 2 is setting goals in line with those values.
Exactly.
So last Friday episode that you heard was all about how to get clear on what those values are. Today is going to be very clear on today's going to be about how to get clear on what those goals are and how they line up with your values. Dude, and I'm just telling you, like, today, the things we're going to go through are going to help you identify gaps in your progression, like why you aren't making the traction that you're capable of, and more importantly, the actionable steps to make sure that you start to gain that traction that, once again, you're fully capable of. A few things that we'll talk about on the drips that have had a bigger impact on, like, so me personally, my progression, my, any success that I've had, this is one of them, because the key to success is execution and breaking down goals, granular. Like, we'll get you, we'll go through this framework of how we break them down, but makes execution a lot easier,
Totally. Definitely. Before we dive into like how you break down goals and how you go about planning out, making sure that you can execute on those goals, I want to just tie in real quick before we get started. Why has it been so important for you, Ty, to make sure that your goals align with your values?
Well, I think that's what it's all about.
Totally.
Like, we can spend our time, spend our effort, spend our energy, gosh damn, man, in so many different areas. And I believe it's one of the, struggles that people have is because we have so many choices in today's world. Yeah. It's like, which one do I choose? So the reason that it is values step 1, then goals step 2 is because once we know what the values are, then we can we can get clear on what these goals are that align with the values. Once we know what the goals are, we make every decision in line with accomplishing those goals. So it just breeds clarity. Like, all these steps are breeding more and more clarity, more and more responsibility to take ownership for our life.
And alignment. It's also like creating alignment in your life too. Like, that's what I want to add, because a lot of times people will set goals that really aren't aligned with their values. They set goals align with what they think they want to acquire.
Yeah.
Right? So by doing this and setting your goals in line with your values, it gives you a purposeful life.
Yeah, bro.
It's like, funny. Because now you're chipping away at those things that actually add value to your life.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add
I was
that.
in the gym the other day, and Brandon was, I haven't talked to you about this, but Brandon Turner was in there. And so I chat with Brandon, And he's saying, hey, man, I got to have you on my podcast. I was like, sweet, dude, you're creating another podcast. It's about time, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, yeah, we got to figure out, like, what the top. And I said, is it going to be about real estate? And he's like, well, that's what we were just talking about. He's like, no. The answer that I had was no. It wasn't going to be. But now it's like, well, what could I start tomorrow? Real estate. So, and then, his partner that he's with, he's like, well, okay, so how do we make decisions in our life? Do we do it on what's easiest? Or do we do it on what is going to, make the biggest impact?
That's a good partner.
But then Brandon says, I mean, how do we make decisions in life? I mean, you're saying that we don't go after the things that are the sure thing, and like this contrarian viewpoint. And I was like, well, and my viewpoint, right? I was like, well, shit. I think it depends. What outcome are you looking for? What's the outcome you're looking for? Then determine which route to take. Maybe it's the easiest path. Maybe it's the hardest path, but you don't know until you determine the outcome. Then that helps you determine which path to take.
Yeah.
And they know that. I mean, shit.
Sure.
But this is what I love talking about, like with high-level individuals on goal setting. And what we do is it's because, like, even though we know it, how often do we stray from it?
Oh, man, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah. These are constant things you have to remind yourself about. No,
all the time.
For sure.
Yeah. So this framework will help you a ton. I'm excited to walk you through it for sure.
Yeah, give you some. Yeah, no, I love it. So let's dive in, brother.
Okay.
What are those steps? What are those steps to?
So I look at it, like, think about this in 6 basic steps, right? You have a brainstorm session. So like when I go to set my goals, right? I set a yearly goal. I set these long-term goals. We're talking about taking these yearly goals and now we're breaking them down into. So here's what I do. I will brainstorm. I use a whiteboard. Some people will use pieces of paper. I use a whiteboard because then I clean it up and organize it. So I'll brainstorm. I'll just do a brain dump, dude. Dump anything that I can out on paper or out on the whiteboard. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then I'll clear it up. From there, I'll get clear on my 12-week target goals. Once I do my 12-week target goals, like quarterly goals, right? Then and this may sound like a lot. I'm going to tell you right now, the upfront, if you're listening to this, you're like, oh my gosh, this sounds daunting. It's not. What you're doing right now is daunting. This is a short-term sacrifice for a massive long-term gain. And I promise you, if you've never done this, if you will just force yourself to do it once, you will never, well, I say never. There's going to be times that you'll still try to cut corners, but then you're going to realize, because you know what truly works and how to execute, you're going to be like, shit, I tried to take shortcuts, right?
Yeah,
Cut the corners.
yeah.
You see the execution. So I take these 12-week goals. From there, I'll take my major progress points to those goals. That's major progress points number 3. Number 4, and we'll break all these down. Number 4 is actions and tasks to get to our major progress points that ultimately get us to our 12-week goals. 5 is our daily and weekly habits that align with those. And then 6 is just your plan of attack. But we can dive into all those.
Okay, well, let's dive in. I love that. First off, those 6 steps. Just to brainstorm 12-week target goals, major progress points, actions and tasks, daily and weekly habits, and then plan of attack.
Yeah.
Love it.
Sweet.
Well, let's start with that first thing, brainstorm. You say you use a whiteboard. You
Yep.
use a whiteboard and you throw everything up on that whiteboard. Why do you do that? Explain. Go ahead.
Brain dump. Like, it is getting it out of my brain. Like,
Yeah.
You have to allow yourself to literally just purge your mind. So I'll get into some sort of a peak state, right? I'll put I like to put my headphones on. You do whatever works best for you, but like, you look at, like, you go to the gym.
Yeah.
You don't just go to the gym, stack on, plates and then start to rep. You stretch, you do a little warm up, you do a little jog, you do something to warm up. It's the same thing when I go into this. Like, I want to get my physical into a peak state. So whether I'll do my physical and my mental. So what I'll do, interestingly, is I like to do some sort of a workout within an hour or so of when sometimes I can do it, sometimes I don't, but within an hour or so of setting my goals.
Yeah.
That's ideal. Then I come in, I do some sort of meditation. So body, peak physical state, meditation, clear my mind, and then what am I going to do? And then I start to just dump anything and everything onto that whiteboard. Like, literally, I have my headphones in, and I'm just listening to instrumentals, and I'm just anything that comes to my mind. This isn't about judging anything. You have to turn that part of your mind of, like, maybe can I do this or I can't. You have to turn that part off.
Yeah.
Purge your mind of anything and everything on that board, and that's what, really that's what that step is about. Like, literally just brainstorming. Hopefully we've all brainstormed, but that's what that is, right? Getting our body into peak physical state, brain dumping. And then step 2 is when we can start to judge them. Step 2 is when we can start to determine, like, do they align with our values, and do they align with our long-term and yearly goals?
Yeah. Dude, I really, when you first taught me this value or this principle, this step in the process of brainstorming and getting it all out so you can see it all, I remember you saying something along the lines of, take that time to dream. Take that time to dream, and really take some time to dream. Yeah. Take the pressure off of yourself and really just get everything that you've ever dreamt of and that you've ever wanted to acquire, that you've ever wanted to be. Get it out there.
Get it out.
And don't judge yourself. Get it out there and get it out there and get it out into the universe. Get it out onto the whiteboard or the piece of paper so that you can see it. So powerful.
That's it.
And so impactful when you can actually see those things.
Dude, and I'll be clear, because we're going to talk about how to take yearly goals and break them down to quarterly 12-week goals, okay? Yeah. But this is the same process that I use. So when I'm setting my yearly goals, I'm brainstorming. I'm taking all these things that are on here, I'm going to organize them into yearly targets. Then I take the yearly targets and I break them down into major progress points to get me to my yearly target. Then those major progress points, I break them down into, I'm doing the same thing. Now I'm just shrinking it down depending on the version that I'm doing it, right?
Yep.
For big picture. Like when I'm setting 3 to 5 year goals, no, dude, it's just, I don't break it down like this. Like, I don't do that.
Right.
It's more of just, hey man, I want to, have $1 billion worth of real estate. I want to have whatever these goals are, right?
Right.
Once I get into the year framework, now I'm starting to break it down.
Yes.
So if you're on YouTube, we're going to show some. I'll show some. We'll flood some images in here that kind of break you down. We'll show you these steps. I'm like literally like show you the steps that I've taken and what it looks like when I take them.
Yeah, no, dude. Yeah, definitely tune into YouTube. Strat's going to work his magic there to put in some screenshots and some things so you can actually see visually how Tyler does this as well. It's super impactful.
Strat just gave us from behind the screen. He's like, thumbs up, like, yeah, I got you. He's
got it. He's got it. Not surprised. The man's got it for sure. Okay, so you've brainstormed.
Yep.
Now you move down into the 12-week target goals. Break down that.
When I understood how to do this, and dude, I'm still learning. Like anything is learning, right?
Real quick, why 12 weeks?
So I read this book by, it's called 12-Week Year. Have you ever read that book? Such a good book, bro.
Yeah.
You do that. You do it because we talk about it.
Sure.
But it's by Brian T. Moran, and it's how to accomplish more in 12 weeks than most people do in a year or something, right?
Yeah.
When I read that, it opened my eyes to just a ton. Like how to just get more clear, more granular. The journal comes into this. The journal that we use is all structured, right, with this.
Yep.
It's how to take quarterly goals, break them down into the same things we're talking about here. And they use different verbiage in the book. We use different verbiage, but the principle's the same, okay? Mm-hmm. We break it down more granular in the journal than they do in the
daily journal, right?
Yeah, the daily journal, yeah. The growth guide. But your question was what? Sorry, why 12 weeks?
Yeah, why 12 weeks? Yeah.
Okay, so if you think of anybody, in fact, most of y'all, man, you probably set yearly goals, right? Some people don't even set goals, which is crazy, but I can understand that because for the longest time I didn't set goals. But, man, we set these goals in the first of the year, and then but, dude, there's no urgency behind them. There's no urgency behind them because we have a freaking year. Most people highly underestimate what they can accomplish in a year and highly overestimate what they can accomplish in 12 weeks, in a shorter time frame.
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
So it's like you can accomplish way more than you think you can, but how you do that is you need to break them down and create some urgency. So the RAS, reticular activating system, it's this bundle of nerves in the base of your brainstem, and it acts as a filter, right? And it filters out anything that it doesn't deem necessary. It's a survival. Honestly, it's an energy survival type mechanism. Uh-huh. So what does it view? How does it determine things that are necessary? Well, things we feed it regularly and things that have urgency. So if you have this goal that has a deadline that doesn't create urgency, like a year, well, your RAS is naturally going to be like, well, it's not important. It's not necessary because it's not urgent. So now your RAS is working against you instead of for you. So if you can start to trick yourself, well, not even trick yourself, like literally understand the mechanisms of the brain and then work within those mechanisms, you can life hack this thing, right? So now you set these quarterly goals that creates urgency. Now, because there's so much urgency that you need to get done, your RAS is like feeding you things, people, resources to help you get to these urgent goals that you've set. Right?
Yeah, man. Dude, I love that you bring up RAS, and I love how often you talk about it. And I love you've never said it the way that you just said it now, but by understanding that that's how your RAS works, you can then, like you said, life hack it, biohack. You can decide. You know what I mean? Like you can really understand what it is that you need to do to activate those things in your brain to then continue with the progression, dude.
Totally, bro. Like
that's awesome.
You think we just went. I just got a new Ford Raptor, right?
Yeah.
We went down to Jaws and we were off-roading down there.
Yeah, it was a blast.
And we get all the way down to the bottom, and it's slippery. You have to have 4-wheel drive, right? It's like, and this Raptor is a beast.
Even a 4-wheel drive. I don't know. Like,
like it was raining, so it's super slippery clay. Like
it's nuts.
But we get to the bottom, and then I start playing around with, and I'm like, oh shit. I don't just have 4-wheel drive, 4 high, 4 low. I got like 4 low, and then it has all these modes.
Yeah.
So I can set my suspension, I can set my steering, I can set my all these
acceleration,
things.
Everything. Yeah. It's
so
wild.
now we're starting to hack this vehicle that we have to optimize the ride, this journey, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's exactly what we do to get back up the trail. And coming down was a different ballgame. Going up, whew. Well, man, if we didn't have those, if we didn't know how to optimize the vehicle that we had, utilize the vehicle we had, I mean, it would have been a different ballgame.
Yeah, it would have been a lot harder for sure. For
a lot
sure.
harder,
I love that. I love that analogy, though. No, so good. So good. Okay, so getting super specific within those 12 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
You set those major progress points. That was the next thing on the list.
Yeah, but so we call them a 12-week target goal, right? So we brainstorm, step 2, 12-week target goal.
Yeah.
And we typically will dial in 3 12-week target goals.
Yeah.
And specific, I want to be very clear too, the mind cannot go to work on generalities. So once again, this is where you're judging. Are these goals in line with your values? Are these goals in line with the overall longer, bigger picture? And then getting very specific. Like it's not, I want to close a deal, as an example.
No.
It's, dude, not even like what type of deal. Dude, I want you to focus on the process. What do you need to be able to close that deal? I need to raise $1 million. Mm-hmm. Cool. Now we're going to take that. That's one of your actions.
That's a progress point.
That would be your
goal.
Yes.
One of the 12-week goals.
Yep.
Yep.
And you listen, it depends on how granular you get. You could put, I want to close a deal, but once again, specific. So I want to close a 50-unit deal by X time. And then one of those major progress points could be to raise $1 million. And then you could break it down from there. My advice to you, once again, get as clear as you possibly can get. So if I'm brand new into this, my quarterly 12-week target goal is going to be raise $1 million. And now I'm going to break that bitch down.
Right. On how you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And by breaking down the 3 major progress points within that.
Yeah, so you have your three target goals. Now we're going to break down what step is it? Step 3, our major progress points.
Right.
And then our major progress points, these are measurable, specific, actionable, like milestones that get you to the quarterly 12-week target goals. So things, literally milestones, right? That you need to get to check off, this raising $1 million or whatever that is.
Right. Totally.
Usually we set 3 to 4 major progress points for each 12-week target goal that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. No, that's important to know.
Examples, but
yeah, no, I would. Let's dive into some examples for sure. But before we do that, again, this is just a reminder. This is a framework for any goal setting process, right? You're doing it for a year, like we're talking about a 12-week, figuring out your 12-week, your goals for your year, planning out and setting your yearly goals. But this is, like you said, a framework for any sort of goal setting you're trying to do, even any sort of like project you're trying to get done as well.
Yes.
Right. It's just this perfect framework of being able to walk it backwards to then be able to walk it forwards.
Yeah, I like goal, that. Right? So you'll see when I share some of these, images on the YouTube side, you'll see how I break it down on my yearly side and then how I take it from there and break it down to my quarterly side, right?
Yeah.
So let's give an example.
Yeah.
Let's say that you have a 12-week target goal to read 10 books. in the quarter, right? This is gonna seem, maybe tedious, but I'm just telling you, man, it's massive. Okay, so what are your major? If I want to read 10 books in the next 12 weeks, some 3 major progress points that I could do. Number one, like I want you to think of these that are like literally steps that you need to take to be able to get here, right? Things you're checking off. So number one, I need to define the actual books that I'm gonna read. As an example, I need to define the actual books that I'm gonna read. 2, I'm gonna set the deadlines and the reminders on my calendar ahead of time. And we'll talk about why that's so important, but I'm gonna set I'm gonna schedule it out, right? These deadlines and these time frames, but I'm gonna set it on my calendar ahead of time so that it's already planned out. I know I'm going to read this book here, and think about this. If I know that I need to read this book by this day, well, I'm going to buckle down and read this book by this date. Yeah. And then number 3, I'm going to buy the actual books. These are these major progress points along the way. And once again, we usually identify 3 major progress points for each 12-week target goal. Yeah. And then once those are defined, those will help us identify our actions, these daily steps that we need to take.
Yeah, dude, that's so good. Again, it's just taking a step outside almost of your goal. And noticing it's like these are the things that I need to get done even before I can even start attacking to attempt the goal. Yep. Right? Yep. I love this example of the 10 books. You got to identify what the books are. Yep. You got to set deadlines and reminders to make sure that you're reading the book. So these are just like all premeditated things you have to do prior to even attacking your goal.
And it's with any goal. I literally do this. I have all these books that I'm going to read, really honestly, for the year. Yeah. And then I prioritize which ones. And I'm dragging them up and down this I use a it's called ClickUp, our project management, task management software. Yep. And I'm prioritizing those, and then I'm setting due dates to them. Same shit we just talked about.
Yeah, dude, so good. Yeah. And it's again, it's such a good framework for setting any goals. But okay, so now you know what those three progress progress points are, those milestones are. That next thing that you talked about was creating those actions and tasks. Yep. So let's dive into that, actions and tasks.
So you have your 12-week target goal. You have your 3 major milestones to get you to that goal. Now with each major milestone, you're going to break down some actions and tasks, things that you need to be doing to be able to hit that milestone, right? So once again, just breaking it down more granular. So playing off the example earlier, right, that we want to read, that we want to read 10 books or whatever. Let's say that one of the things that we need to do is identify the books, right? Okay, so what are we going to do? I'm going to ask my contacts for books, for best books to read. So meaning what I'll do with that is I'll post something on IG or something like, hey man, these are my top books that I read. What were your top books? And that's how I've created my reading list. I give all sorts of book examples at these workshops that I teach, right? And then people will bring me, hey man, did you read this book? Did you read this book? My team, we share books all the time. Did you read this? So a major progress, pivotal action task, right? Ask my contacts, number 1. Number 2, I'm going to list all those out, and then number 2, I'm going to research maybe the top 20 on Amazon. I'm just going to research them. Which ones really stick out? Then number 3, I'm going to list all those, top 10. The top 10 that I'm going to read, I'm going to put them on a Google spreadsheet to track them. And I used to do it on a spreadsheet until just recently. Now I do it in ClickUp. But it was a spreadsheet for the longest time, like with a little checkbox. Once again, this is big for me, okay? Yeah. A checkbox of boom, I did it. The date that I did it. Boom, I did it. The date that I did it. Yeah.
So good. Why are those checkboxes so important for you, Ty?
Because it releases dopamine, dude, and it's it's so funny, but you gamify this process. I get excited. I swear on my life, I get excited to go in and check it.
Same.
And now on ClickUp, it turns green. So it's not necessarily a checkbox, but I get to mark it complete, right? But it stays in my list, and so I see it green on there. And so I have all these stacks of green. So anytime I read one, right, I move it up, and it's in order of the ones that I completed, and I see all these greens stacking dubs. It's powerful, man.
It is, man. It keeps you motivated to keep moving, too.
Absolutely does. Yeah. And once again, dude, I understand, somebody's listening to this and my gosh, this sounds tedious. I'm just going to go to work. But once again, man, the number 1 differentiator of success is execution. And breaking down these steps, and it makes executing so much easier, right? Right. So I'm just telling you, try it. You try it. You break them down. Yeah. And it's going to be harder than you think it's going to take. It's going to take you longer than you think it's going to take.
Yeah.
Right? First time you ever did it take you longer than you thought?
Like half of a day, like 4 or 5 hours.
Every time I do it, it takes me longer than I think it's going to take
always.
me. Which is, so sometimes in my mind, I like procrastinate. But now I know.
Yeah.
Like now I know that if I don't do that, my execution is going to dip a lot. And, dude, I can't afford to do that.
No.
There's too many people relying on me executing.
Dude,
you
your
know?
goals are relying on it.
Yeah.
There's people relying on you, but you're relying on your goals to make sure
Yeah,
you know what I
but
mean to do it.
I'll slack on myself a lot.
Sure.
I think most people will.
Yeah.
It's harder for us to slack and drop the ball for others. And so I always place it, like I literally put this compelling reason behind any of my goals.
Sure.
And very rarely am I the compelling reason. It's something in lines with my faith, something in lines with the future me, or something in line with, who I'm trying to serve and what I'm trying to do.
Which, to bring it all the way back around, is to making sure that your goals are in line with your values.
Yeah. Great point, bro.
You know what
that's
I mean?
a great point. I didn't even put that together, but that's exactly it.
Bringing it back around. Like, it was one of the things that I wanted to add to what you were saying was, as you're going through this, as you're for this example, you're researching those top 20 books. Every action that you take through this process, you should always be checking in with yourself to make sure it aligns with your values.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Literally always.
I love it.
Through that path, because it does sometimes get distracting and you might want to move a different direction, but making sure that you check back in with your values often through this process and then even after is crucial. One of the things that you just talked about too that I wanted to add on was execution. Talk about execution. People often say, "Oh, that seems like too much. I'm just going to go to work."
Yep.
That's not executing.
No.
Like I just want to draw this. Like I just want to say this. You can't execute if you don't have a plan. Like, what are you executing on?
Yeah. That's it.
What are you executing on?
Yep.
So if you're just going to go to work, you're not going to, like, you're really not going to work.
Are you really
on
moving the
anything.
needle?
Right. You're not executing on anything.
That's it.
You're just kind of moving around. You know what I mean? You're just not really doing anything.
Oh yeah, you're spending tons of time. You're spending tons of energy, but are you truly moving the needle? But once again, you're gamifying it.
Yep.
I sat down with somebody in my office recently that had this huge, big, crazy monthly income goal. Not crazy, but awesome goal.
Big.
But listen, that was the goal. That's the only thing that they had defined, and they hadn't bridged the gap in between their current self and where they wanted to get. And so if that's the only thing you're going to be disappointed every fucking day.
Yeah.
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love the big goals. Our tagline is think bigger, but you take that big goal, you break it down to a yearly goal, like something that's more within this reach, right?
Striking distance, yeah.
Then you break it down to quarterly. Then you break it down to, once again, man, daily actions, tasks. And now you're winning all the time.
Yep.
Now you're not always feeling like you're so far behind. You're focusing on the progress, the process. You're winning every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful mentally.
Yes, and keeps you going.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Keeps you going towards those goals.
Yes,
those goals
dude.
are huge.
Yeah.
They should be. They should push you. But by doing these little things is what's going to keep you going to be able to make sure you get to those goals. Okay, so we talked about actions and tasks. What's that next thing?
Number 5 is your daily and weekly habits, man. Success is it's not this once in a lifetime thing, dude. It's success really is a byproduct of your daily actions, habits, tasks.
Yeah.
So breaking these things down, what different things do you need to do to execute? So for example, right? You want to read, you go down the same example. You want to read 10 books in the quarter. Cool. What's the daily action that you're going to have? I want to have this habit to read at 60 minutes every single day. Now, how am I going to do that? I'm going to read when I'm driving. I download the Audible version and the Kindle version, and it's called Whisper Sync. And so it will read it. So I read it and listen to it. I have ADD, and so if I just read, my mind will wander. If I just listen, my mind will wander. But if I can read and listen, my mind is freaking dialed. I know that about myself. How do I know that about myself? Well, dude, because I don't just look at a weakness and be like, well, shit, this is a weakness. I'm really trying to hack, like, what's a life hack to it? That was a life hack for me.
Yeah.
And I can take notes and I can mark it up and I can it's like, that's huge for me to go back and review too, right?
Yep. Hold on. I just want to draw out that life hack for anybody that might struggle with focusing, ADD, whatever it might be. Having a visual there with an audio, it helps stay focused. It helps gain more out of it. Yeah. That's why I watch all my podcasts on YouTube.
Yeah.
I love that we push and that we have them on YouTube for that reason.
Yep.
It's because you can get on there and watch it and stay more engaged.
Everyone learns differently.
Everyone learns different, man.
Yeah. And then it's like I'm gonna change some stuff up. So one of the key things for me, when I go to the restroom, I do not scroll on Facebook. That is what my natural tendency is.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm very clear on like a reading goal, I'll read in there instead of scroll in there. And I know most of y'all are scrolling in there, okay? Dude, I'm trying to read in there. So you'll see that I put my headphones in.
Yeah.
When I go in, I don't know if you noticed this.
I haven't.
You're not watching my every move in here?
No, not every
Pay
move.
attention, bro.
A lot of them.
I'll put my headphones in. I put my headphones in because I will, dude, just what I said, read and listen as I'm in there. That's why I'm in there for so long, too, dude. Get caught up in a good book.
Yeah, sure.
Productive.
No, that's awesome. It is. I love this example that we keep using about reading, right? You have to figure out what daily action that's trackable that you can make every single day to get you to your goal. Essentially, that's what it is, right?
That's exactly
It's
it.
figuring out whether it's reading 60 minutes, whether it's reading 15 pages, what's that trackable number? Like you really do have to put a number to it because you have to know whether you hit it or missed it, right?
Okay, well, bro, think about, we talk about how the RAS works, right?
Yeah.
And we talk about how most people set yearly goals. We're talking to you how to set 12-week goals, but then we're showing you how to break these down into daily
Tasks.
Yeah, daily. So some of the most successful people out there are aware of their goals or check into their goals on a quarterly basis. Highly, highly, highly successful people check into them daily. The 1% of the 1%ers are checking into them. They're becoming aware of those, urgent to those. Dude, hourly. Like they're checking it hourly. How are they moving the needle? And so like that's so powerful for you as you're breaking down these goals. Once again, you're hacking your RAS. You're not just setting this urgency on a 12-week basis because you'll forget. You just will. You're literally checking in on this regularly, daily to move the needle. Once again, with these actions and tasks to get you to move the freaking needle. Yeah,
It's so good. It's such a great way to put. I mean, just to throw this in there, it's such a great way to put a long 12-week goal right in front of you every single day.
Yeah.
It's the best way to do it is have an action that you have to make every single day in line with that 12-week goal.
And then here's the so number 6 though, right?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, we've broken all these down. And one of the things I said that we highly underestimate what we can accomplish in a year, but highly overestimate what we can accomplish in a quarter, 12 weeks.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is we will think that we can accomplish so much. And listen, man, maybe you can, but you don't know unless you track. And I'll just tell you, when you so number 6 is plan of attack.
Yeah.
And you'll see as we, weave this slide in how I break this down. I'll give you an example of this, but I have these quarterly goals, but now it's like, okay, how am I truly going to execute on these? We only have so much time. So it's like, okay, I know that I can do this day, and then I can break this down this day and this week, and then this will be the focus here, and I'll be flying here so I can accomplish this here. And then when I do this, I can do this, and I need to do this. I'm literally planning this out for the quarter on where I'm going to execute. Something that I did this quarter. I overestimated what I would be able to. Well, really what I did is underestimate how long a couple of these things would take me to do. And so I got close to them, but I didn't finalize and wrap the bow up.
Right.
And we're 15 days away from closing out the quarter. So I know that I'll miss the target on at least 2 of my 3 quarterly goals, which I'm very close to them. But let me tell you why that but now I know. This is data. Like, I ain't bummed about it. I'm just telling you I'm not bummed about it.
Right.
Like, this is data of like, okay, that took me longer than I expected. Cool. And I got distracted some areas. I just did.
Yeah.
You will too, I promise you. What I said, you can set out a plan, but if you don't abide by that plan, well, yeah, you won't move the needle.
Yeah. Let's talk about that for a second, dude. You getting distracted, you're going to miss some goals. Dude, that's everybody. Like, we're talking about you just said that happens to you, but that happens to everybody. People miss their goals. They set goals and they miss their goals even when they've followed this framework.
Yep.
They have their plan of attack. They know what their daily rituals are. They know what those rocks are that they need to hit, right? Those 3. But then they still miss their goals. They plan it out perfect and they miss their goals. What in that situation, what is it that you do? How do you kind of alluded to it. It's data. You don't you're not bummed about it. You're not mad about it. But what does that look like for you? You realize you missed a goal.
Dude, we're always becoming. Right? We're always becoming. So I'll talk to somebody. Somebody will tell me that they're They just focus on our problem, right? Man, I'm so busy. No, you're not. You just told me what you want to accomplish. Like okay, hey man, I want to own thousands of units like you do. Okay, if that's truly what you want to do, just understand that the higher you climb up this ladder, this proverbial ladder, it gets noisier and noisier. So you have to get better at quieting the noise. We did an episode on this, recently, but quieting the noise. So what you're doing right now is you're learning how to become the person that you're becoming. That's all you're doing. So I know how to get to where I'm at right now, but I don't know how to get to where I'm going. I'm learning it. I'm becoming that person. So as right now, like I have so many in the beginning, it was so much easier, dude, because I had this 1, 2, 3 specific things that I needed to hone in on. Okay. Well, now, bro, the options are, I have so many more options. I have so many different things that I can place my time and energy on. Well, listen, man, that's been a learning process for me. And it's been one that it's an exhausting one.
Sure.
But I'm becoming, like I look at these high level people that I'm striving to, that I like model things after. They have learned how to prioritize and break things down at a higher level than I currently have. And maybe I have learned how to do it at a higher level than you currently have. But you want to know how I learned how to be here? I understood how to manage the things that I had when I was at that level there. And so it's meaning I'm learning it, I'm dissecting it, I'm improving it. Next quarter's better. Then the next quarter's better. But if you never learn, dissect, and upgrade your skill set, well, then you're stuck.
Yep.
And you're stuck, and you look back 10 years ago, and you're like, holy shit, man. Because 10 years is going to happen. 3 years from now is going to happen. A year from now is going to happen. The question is, where will you be? What will you have become? That starts today. The things you do today, wherever you're at right now, it's not because of something that you failed to do yesterday. Wherever you're at right now, if things are slipping, if things are falling, it's because of something that you failed to do 90 days ago, 6 months ago. That's what happened. And you never corrected them. So your job now is to correct them on a day-to-day basis instead of a yearly basis, and you'll make massive traction in your life.
So good.
Yeah.
And it's so good. I love the emphasis that you made on becoming and the importance of becoming, right? We're always all becoming. So yeah, if you miss your goals, good.
Yeah.
You're still in the process of becoming that person that you need to be to acquire that goal.
Totally, bro.
Right, dude? So it's like, as you were talking just now too, I had this thought. Correct me if this thought's wrong. But we just went through these 12 or these 6 steps for breaking down your 12-week goals. Making sure, first thing we talked about was making sure your goals are aligned with your values.
Yep.
And then these are the steps for you to acquire and hit your goals, right?
Yep.
But also to obtain those values that it is that you aligned your goals with.
Yeah.
So essentially, these 6 steps that you talked about as well to achieve your 12-week goals are also the 6 steps that you need to take to become the person that you need to become to acquire whatever those goals are.
I like it, dude. And there's more to the framework. Like, this next process that we'll talk about on the next drip will be responsibility, how to take responsibility of things, right?
Yeah.
So it's one thing to define them, and now you have to take responsibility. So all this framework that we're walking through, this bigger framework of how to take ownership of your life, all of them have granular frameworks, all of them have granular steps, and all of them are critical to really progressing up to where you're looking to become.
So good, man.
Can I tell you who's really good at this? Who's really good at becoming, right, is Pax, my son.
Yeah.
I go to his practice yesterday and I'm watching, and it's, dude, being a parent is such an amazing thing, and it's such a humbling thing because, I'm watching, and it's like I just want him to just thrive. All of you want your kids to thrive. All of us want to thrive and have our kids thrive, and anybody that we love thrive, right? So I'm watching, and he, right as I'm there, right as I get there, right after I get there, line drive gets hit to him. He catches this line drive, and it was a great play, awesome play, and then he gets up to the plate and he struggles a little bit at the plate, gets a couple good hits, but struggled a little bit at the plate. Okay, but that night when we're praying, like he says the prayer at before we go to bed, and he says, "Thank you for helping me get better at baseball, and thank you for helping me," like something along the lines of like, be confident enough to catch that line drive. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. He's not focusing on this shit that he didn't do, even though he knows it. I he knows it. What he's grateful for is the things that he did better today than he did yesterday. And I just learned this from my little dude, and I just learned so much from him every single day, and I just love it.
So good.
It's like, man, we need to focus on how are we better today than we were yesterday.
Yeah, ask yourself that question,
That's
right?
it.
Dude, we talk about better questions all the time, asking ourselves better questions. I love that, man. Pax is such a little stud, dude, little wise little dude.
He is. I don't even know if he knows it, and sometimes he's dumb as shit. But no, he is. He's just an old soul. I just love learning from him.
Dude,
so smart.
So good, man.
Yeah.
So good. Thank you for sharing that, man. So anything else that you want to just wrap up here as we talk about these things, dude?
Yeah, do it. Force yourself to go through the action. Force yourself to go through these steps. Force yourself to do it. Listen, man, this will drop. When will this drop? Right at the end of Q2, right?
Yeah, probably right around the end of Q2.
End of Q1.
End of Q1.
Beginning of Q2.
Yep.
Take these steps, man. You should be setting, once again, 12-week goals. It's a perfect time. We didn't even plan that.
No.
We did, though.
Must be.
Yes.
No consequences here.
So, dude, take this and use it for your 12-week goals. And then let me know how it helped you.
Yeah.
Let us know how it helped you, because I'm confident. I'm 110. Man, it'll move the needle for you like you've never moved the needle.
Yep.
And so try it. We can't force you to do anything. Only invite you to take action or try, man. And if you do, it'll help you. So, yeah.
Again, if you're listening to this episode, definitely tune in on YouTube if you need some visuals.
Yeah, the visuals will help you, I
YouTube,
promise you. The
sure.
visuals will absolutely help you.
For sure. Awesome. Tyler, thank you so much, man. I think this is just another one of those fantastic principles in becoming, man. It's one of those things that, like you said, dude, it can really change the trajectory of your life if you implement it the right way and if you actually follow it. And when you do fail at your goals, you don't move away from this, but use it as data to set better goals and to move forward and grow and learn. It really can just change how you live your life and how you literally go about your day-to-day. So powerful. And do you have a Hawaiian value you wanted to share today?
Po'okela. We've used this one a few times, but it's because it's one of my favorites, man. Strive for excellence and do outstanding things. Right? That value helps us, encourages us to not just work hard, but work hard with a purpose. All these defining these goals and breaking them down are making sure that you're working with a purpose. Also helping you. There's so many distractions in today's world, and it's helping make sure that you don't get distracted. You've defined up front what it's going to take to get you to where you need to be. Man, don't get distracted. Focus on those things, and dude, you will and strive for excellence, and you will achieve excellence. You'll do outstanding things. This is, it's our kuleana, right? It's our responsibility to take ownership and control of everything that we do. And responsibility is the price of greatness. That's a Winston Churchill quote. And so, man, take responsibility, take ownership, and you do that by breaking down these things that we've just told you to break down. Yeah.
Lets you take more ownership and more responsibility. I love it, man. Tyler, thank you, brother.
Thank you, bro. Anything else you want to add on?
No, for those of you that are just tuning in and just listening for the first time, make sure to leave us a review, share the episode, give us a rating. We would appreciate it.
100%.
What's what we want to do for sure.
Thank you all for sharing all the time as well, man. You guys share, and we appreciate it a ton. It is so fun to see you sharing, pulling value from them. We love y'all. Have a great weekend. Live always with aloha. Peace.